Okay, so this is Democracy 2 by Positech Games, which was released in 2007, the follow-up to Democracy 1. I can't remember playing Democracy 1, so, I'm just going to give my views on this one. And this is a modded scenario of Scotland that I created. This game is very easy to mod. It's a political game whereby you try and win re-election as a government. You do that by basically removing all the social problems, or as many as you possibly can, from the society. And when you start, there are loads of problems: crime, drugs, sort of tax evasion, whatever you can think of. There are problems, and there's loads to begin with: vigilante mobs, pollution, brain drain, technological backwater, binge drinking. All these sorts of things are problems, and you need to find solutions to it. Now, each turn you have sort of political points that you can use to make decisions which will help alleviate these problems, and over time remove them completely. Here is a look at science funding, and this is to get rid of my technological backwater. That means I have to spend political points and also money. And many scenarios start off with you in a deficit. Some of them so bad that you literally, by the second turn, if you're still in a deficit, you basically go bankrupt, which is a downside to the game in that there shouldn't be scenarios where you can go bankrupt on the second turn, really. But anyway, you can kind of tinker with the scenarios yourself a little bit, and you can also mod them, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's see, luxury tax. So yeah, on this screen, all the red orbs are the problems, all the blue orbs are things like statistics that you can measure. So pollution, GDP, that sort of thing, equality. And that's a general measure of how it's going. At the moment, this is just an end of turn report, and it looks like the brain drain has ended in Scotland. And there's also a decision to make, and this is banning landmines. And usually these decisions will please one group and annoy another social group, and the social groups are in the centre of the screen. They each have their own bars, and some of them, depending on which society you're in, some will make up a larger part of your society than other people. So these are the people you want to basically keep sweet if you want to win re-election. These screens show what you're spending your money on and what where your income's from. So you may, if in hard times, you may want to remove money from health or education or various other sources which are using it up. All these orbs are kind of linked together. So this is technological backwater. This is linked to the university grant system. How much science funding is there, and education and things like that. So if you improve these things, then the technological backwater will that whole status will go down. And again, it's lots of sort of like bars and things to, red going down and green going up, but in essence, this game is reallocating money, and that's all it really is. You either spend more money on one thing or take it away from something else, or you cancel certain policies that you already have. But that is essentially the game. Spending more on strategic policy options. And the problem is that this can be very addictive the first couple of weeks, but after that it's pretty much the same thing. This is just showing Conservative members not liking me right now due to various policy decisions and events that have happened. One of the things I didn't show you, I think I skipped to it, is that, or I'll skip later, is that my island actually gets invaded because I'm not spending enough on the military. So it's quite a nice game. It's quite different to a lot of other games, but at the same time, they're charging about £18 for it on their website, which is a lot considering you probably won't get too much use out of it. You will the first couple of weeks. I remember playing this pretty constantly for 2 weeks, but then after that, it's the same sort of thing. You get into the pattern of it, and it's not fun anymore. Really, it's kind of, as I said, it can be addictive, but it's not all that fun long term. Really, the positives are that you can mod it and stuff, and there is quite a different game. But on the other hand, it's quite samey as well as it goes along. So there's not much variety really going on there. So I'm not going to really ruin the final bit of this video, because this is I eventually do have an election come up, and here are the manifesto promises. If you don't keep them before an election, then you will get humped at the polls. So it is important when you're choosing it. But for the first election, in going into it, it's not really all that much. Here's a failed assassination attempt because I wasn't too popular amongst the Patriots, even though I tried to shore up their support. So as you can see from the bars in the middle, I seem to be getting a lot of green ones, a few yellow ones, which is okay, and a few red ones. So you would think at the moment I'd have an alright chance. I've got about 40% in the current election thing, but apparently my opponents do quite some bit better. But anyway, there's corporal punishment. I mean, I modded in a few new policy things. As I said, the modding's fairly easy to do, but even then, you're not looking at a particularly long game. Even when you win the elections, it's kind of like, what do you do in your second term? You could just pretty much sit on your ass and do nothing. So here's the election result anyway. There's no real music to speak of or sound effects, I don't think, and the graphics work fine, although they can be a little bit cluttered at times. And if you don't know what the orbs are at the beginning, it can be a little bit confusing, although they will say. So I'd say this game doesn't really have much of a shelf life. It is quite different, but it doesn't. You can't really play it for that long. As I said, the initial sort of 2-week honeymoon is quite good, but after that, not really much. As you can see, I'm actually getting humped in the polls by the opposition party. So yeah, I'd say this game, it brings some new things to computer games, but it's not a great game overall. So I'm going to be a bit harsh on it and say, it gets 5.5 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed that anyway. Cheers.